Hello, hello. If you can see me, start commenting away. So I hope that this is just sort of like a nice little conversation in front of a fire, just with us, two of us, or however many you have watching on the other side. So welcome to this series of Facebook Live casts from Arts. I'm Blake, I'm the music director, and I am in Wisconsin, actually. My partner's parents live here, and so we got into a car and drove 15 hours to get here, and it's been really nice. Considering all of the weirdness that's happening in the world, it's been nice to be doing the family thing and hanging out, being with dogs, playing in the snow, because there's still snow on the ground here. It's certainly been a trying week for us all. I hope you're very healthy and you're taking this time of forced rest to be productive, to recharge and spend some time with the people in your household, social distancing, of course. But anyway, so I'm sure you're being affected in many ways by COVID-19 outbreak that we're experiencing. And of course, the music industry is no different. I have many friends who are reeling from this. And of course, I've gone in waves of encouragement to sadness to paranoia to back to hope again, and every emotion in between. This will all be okay, but right now it's certainly a strange time, especially for many different industries in the world, but the fine arts are no exception. I think some of this uncertainty is sort of exacerbated by the news today that the Metropolitan Opera has laid off its orchestra and chorus, which is not good. They're not finishing the season, and that's going to set them up for about a $60 million deficit at the end of the year. Really scary. It's the largest music institution in the country, and it's not looking very positive right now. So at Baltimore Choral Arts, we're really grateful that we're not in as dire of a position by this. We have a really responsible board and staff who keep us financially going in the right direction, and of course we have a small endowment fund, nowhere near as large as the Metropolitan Opera's, but I think we use it well. Of course, we'll be adversely affected by this. We've canceled our gala, which gives us a big revenue and cash flow jump every year. We've canceled it, we've postponed it, and put the auction element of it online. The information for that can be found on our website. It's going to be a great online auction, it's just not in person. We've had several performances be canceled on us that we were due to take part in, like the stuff with the U.S. Naval Academy that we do every year. We're going to do a Carmina Burana, some various sort of run-out concerts at retirement homes. For obvious reasons, those were canceled because we didn't want to sort of put anyone in jeopardy. Wonderful program that we've been planning for First and Franklin Presbyterian Church at the Spire series that's canceled. So obviously our revenue goes down because of our gala and our performances being canceled. But we are very fortunate. We are lucky that we have a ship going in the right direction. So while this is scary, it is not dire right now. One of the things that this does, though, is it does put a little bit of a strain on our cash flow process. And so one of the ways that affects us is how we can pay or not pay our vocal fellows, which are our professional core of singers. Very fortunately, compared to other organizations, I think we're doing a good job because we're not invoking force majeure clauses and not paying people like the Met did. Unfortunately, we are committed to supporting our folks and our family. And so that is why, part of the reason why we're starting this concert series on Facebook Live. So basically the music with the Maestro, it's going to happen every Thursday for a while until this thing ends. We are paying the vocal fellows something, and part of the way that we are doing that is by asking you, if you enjoy these videos, to click the donate button that's in the about video, or about this video section. You can donate on our website. You can donate, Karina will be posting a link for how to donate directly from Facebook. Also follow that link to our website where you can donate. So actually, I'm wondering if, while I'm speaking, if Julia or Karina, who are watching, could put the email that I sent of the links in the comments. So we have YouTube links, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have a conversation with you as if you and I were the only people in the room about some music that I really love, and maybe they can be your recommended reading for the rest of the week in confinement. So I think these links, these comments will be coming with links from Karina or Julia. because I can't figure it out on my own with this little thing. Actually, I probably could if I did that and that and that, but I don't know if that's happening. So Karina, Julia, you're on it, I'm sure. So we're gonna talk about just a few pieces of music that I have been very into for a long time. The first thing that we'll talk about is Mozart's C minor Mass. This is a really cool piece. We'll just listen to the Kyrie. Also, I'm not quite sure how to do all of this yet as far as how much we should listen versus how much I should talk, because I don't want you just staring at my ugly face for 4 minutes while you listen to music on your own. But maybe I think my computer speakers will be loud enough that we can hear some of what's going on from the Facebook Live thing. But if you can't, you can just follow along on your computer and press play when I say press play. So hopefully all these links are coming up available pretty soon. Someone comment if you have the links already. Someone comment if you have the links. I'll just wait about 10 seconds and hopefully it'll all be fine. So the first thing we'll do is talk about Mozart C minor Mass. Then we're going to talk about a piece called I Rise, Women in Song. It's by Rina Ismail, and it's just so cool. I think it is amazing. And then we will talk about a piece that's near and dear to my heart. Also, it's a piece called Stars by Eric Eschenwalds. And it's set to poetry by Sarah Teasdale, who's one of my favorite American poets, and just absolutely one of the best sort of lyrical poets that has ever come from this country. So we'll be sharing a video of us actually singing that piece in England when we just took our tour back in January. So Karina says that she's working on the links, and so that's great. Let's just start with the Kyrie. So I'll talk a little bit first about the C minor Mass of the Kyrie, and then hopefully in a few minutes you'll have in the comments some links that you can follow along. So Mozart, he was engaged to Constanze in 1780 or 1781, I can't remember which one. And basically, he didn't have much that he could give her because he was always a struggling musician. So he wrote this Mass as part of a gift to her, actually. It was written in 1782 and 1783. Bonus points if you know what was going on in the United States of America in 1782 and 1783. Just to give you a sort of reference to what kind of era it was in the world. That's what was going on. Yes, Laura, the hearth is wide and warm. It's great. I'm very warm. So the Missa Solemnis, the Mass in C minor really is the Missa Solemnis before the Missa Solemnis by Beethoven was written. It's enormous. It's colossal. So it's written for 2 sopranos, a tenor, and a bass. Interesting that there's no alto. I'm very sorry, altos. I normally give you lots of love. But this time, Mozart decided to skip you. And so now there are 2 sopranos, and they're equally voiced. So that means, that's to say that there is not a soprano 1 and a soprano 2 part. It is absolutely, really unforgivingly high, both parts. It's written for a very large orchestra for the time. In fact, it's the largest piece written for orchestra that Mozart wrote that is in the sacred music realm. So it's a really large orchestra. It remained unfinished. Basically, what scholars kind of think happened is that this music is very backward looking in some ways. Mozart at this time was very much into the music of Handel and Handel's oratorios, and to a lesser degree the music of Bach. And the music of Bach, particularly the Passions, the big works, the Mass, B minor Mass, they kind of were falling out of fashion, had already fallen out of fashion at this point. And so the fact that Mozart was writing this music sort of inspired by this style, I think it's fair to say that he abandoned the project because it was so backward looking in some ways. Even though Mozart's fingerprints are all over it, it does have this old feeling. It remained unfinished. Large parts of the Credo and the Agnus Dei are completely missing. The Sanctus is partially lost as well. Robert Levin, who has a really famous completion of the Requiem, which is Mozart's last final piece, and also unfinished, K626, it was the very end of his life. Levin has done a great finished version of the C minor Mass. The whole work, had it been finished by Mozart, would have been his largest liturgical work ever, and we would have known this piece, I think, better than we know the Requiem. I really do. It is a masterpiece, and it fell out of fashion, and it fell out of performance practice because it wasn't finished. And so people really didn't start performing it until the 20th century when people started doing these completions. So let's listen. I think apparently there is a link now in the comments. So go to that link and you will see a performance on YouTube from Sir John Eliot Gardiner, one of my idols. So this is the whole Mass. Of course, we're just going to talk about the Kyrie, and I'm not even sure how much of the piece we're going to listen to together. So everyone, press play. You ready? Here's the Mozart C minor Mass. Play. Applause, applause, applause. Hopefully you can hear this. Of course, it's going to be soft right now. Go ahead and play it on your computer as well, if you want. So Michael Mountain says that St. Bark's Episcopal Church Choir are performing the Mozart C minor Mass on June the 14th. So you should go and see that, because Michael Mountain is a wonderful baritone in our choir, and it would be really great. Okay, here it is. Okay, so I really hope you were able to hear some of that. If not, go to the link that Baltimore Choral Arts has posted in the comments, and you can go and follow that after the fact. So there's so much going on here in this very first movement of the C minor Mass by Mozart. I think it's totally amazing. It's a real homage to the music of the past, as we talked about, music of the Baroque, Handel, Bach. It's so interesting to me how the introduction just trudges on. It trudges, and oh, that's good to know that the sound changed when I picked up the camera. Okay, good to know. I won't do that anymore. The orchestral introduction just trudges. Dee dum 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 dee dum 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 dee dum 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 dee da dee da dum. It's sort of dirgy. It's solemn and perhaps really weary, just tired. And then when the voices come in, this huge multi-fugal sort of action-packed thing happens. So first of all, there are two melodies that could be counted as subjects in fugue speak. So a subject is just a melody. First, but before that happens, there's this minor arpeggiation. So that's interesting. That comes back over and over. And then there's the Kyrie eleison. So there's this long line melody, first sung by the sopranos, and then there's the more active melody, the dee dum dim dum dee dum dee da dim dum dee da dum, first by the altos, and then later by the basses in a really strong way. I think it's really sort of fascinating to me how he can sort of mash all these things together, much like the finale of Symphony 41, where all 5 subjects just all of a sudden are thrust at you at the very end, all together, and they miraculously go together in some way. I think you'll find it really interesting as we listen on to the choir at the minute marker 2 minutes and 30 seconds on the YouTube video, so find 2:30. The choir becomes more like an add-on, sort of an accompaniment to the orchestra. So listen just for a few more seconds, and then we might just carry on. And then the sopranos have that figure that the strings have. And now the soprano comes in, and Mozart's fiancée sang this at the premiere. She was a great soprano. Here it is. Now the choir is just accompanimental, right? So I think it would be best if we just moved on so that you could experience some of this on your own. So this video is about 50 minutes long, 51 minutes long. It's a really, really great performance of the C minor Mass, and it's really interesting as well. I think there are many, hi Patrick McCoy, I think there are many, many instances in this piece that, that sort of are a precursor to the Requiem Mass. Actually, the funny thing is that this is called the C minor Mass, but the only piece that's in C minor is the beginning. This is in C minor, which is, of course, a very sort of dark key, right? D minor is also a little bit sort of lamenting and serious, but it has a little bit of a bright sort of feel. So many things in the rest of the piece are in D minor, actually. So it's kind of an interesting nod to both Handel and his treatment of pain and sorrow and seriousness in D minor. Just look at Handel Messiah, and sort of an interesting precursor to the Requiem. So the next thing that I want to show you, I'm hoping that this will just sort of spark your interest and that you'll try and find other pieces and use these as jumping off points. So hopefully now Baltimore Choral Arts people, Karina or Julia, can ping down the next link, which would be the Rina Ismail video, not the website link. So hopefully you can find that. She will be posting it. Maybe she can post it 1 or 2 times so that you can easily find it. So I just want to tell you about this composer that I have recently fell in love with. Her name is Rina Ismail. She's an Indian-American composer. Her website says that she works between the worlds of Indian and Western classical music and brings communities together through the creation of musical spaces. So she's a very impressive person. She has been commissioned by the Los Angeles Master Chorale, which is in many ways the leading symphonic chorus organization in this country, the Kronos Quartet, and of course she has an upcoming commission by our very own Baltimore Symphony. I just love the amount, Martha says that she's having trouble hearing me. I will maybe speak a little louder. I love the amount of girl power that's going on in this piece. I don't want to give too much away. Let's try, and okay, I see Baltimore Choral Arts, Rina Ismail, I Rise. So everyone click that link. It will bring you to YouTube. And this is a DMA recital from Yale. This, let's listen to just a little bit of it. This is a setting of Maya Angelou's wonderful poem, Still I Rise. So I'm clicking play now. Okay, so I just want to talk a little bit about this because I really sort of just chat away for way too long and sort of miss the mark on what's effective and what's not. So, tons of girl power, right? This is so cool. The piano part is amazing, Martha. You're right. So this is a setting. This is just one movement of 5 of Maya Angelou's words. I love the ostinato pattern in the piano and how it goes with this sort of beaming, consistent and sturdy tune in the voices, even though there are some dissonant encounters in the voices in the homophony. So homophony is just, the stacked sort of chord going all together, all 4 voices, or however many, sort of going in one direction instead of polyphony, which is, this. So this is homophony, this is polyphony, right? Textbook definition right there. I love that the homophonic writing sort of feels like this rising beam of light out of the frenzy of the piano part, and I think it very much speaks to the text, and I think it means that Ismail is she's a really savvy composer when it comes to evoking what the text means and the underlying hidden meaning, not hidden, but underlying meaning of the text. There's so much girl power here, talking about Rina Ismail. 3 degrees, 1 from Juilliard, 2 from Yale. Incredibly successful composer, someone who sort of social justice impact is married with true talent without ever sacrificing musical quality, and that's a balance that's not easily struck often, I think. She happens to be a woman. Yay! Composers, we need them. We need to highlight them. Their work is very, very incredible. She's setting all these amazing texts by incredible women. They're powerful, they're poignant, they're gorgeous. They flex the muscles when they need to, and they also sort of dance and are elegant as well. I invite you to look at the 3rd comment that Baltimore Choral Arts will now post. This is just a link to the page for I Rise Women in Song on Rina Ismail's website, and you can listen to all of the audio recordings of every movement. And I think you'll find the first movement, which is based on Eleanor Roosevelt's text words, to be really just poignant and beautiful. I love it. But for the sake of brevity, I will go on. So the next thing that I want to talk about, there's a link right there. The next thing that I'll share with you is our performance from St. Martin in the Fields Church of Stars by Eriks Eschenvalds. So Eriks Eschenvalds is a Latvian composer. He works often in the UK because he was, at least, I'm not sure if he is anymore, but he was in composition at Cambridge. He has a great relationship with American choirs as well. He's very often performed here, very often performed in Europe and in the United Kingdom. He has taken Sarah Teasdale's poetry and really sort of done the most exquisite setting that you could possibly conjure up. This piece is set for choir and tuned water glasses. So I just want to tell you the story about when I did this when I was in college. There were choir officers going to Pier 1 and opening up wine glasses and licking their fingers and doing that around the outside of the glasses to see which glasses we should buy for what pitch and stuff. So thankfully there wasn't as much glasses licking this time. We ordered a bunch from Amazon and tried them out, and you have to fill them with water, use your tuning app on your phone, and see which pitch will work on which glass. So there's also a Tibetan singing bowl made out of quartz that our associate conductor Leo played. This video was taken at St. Martin in the Fields, London, and I think, yes, Choral Arts has just posted the link, so if you click that really quickly, it should be popping up. I'm going to pretend that it's popped up now, and we're going to press play. Here it is. And I think I'm just going to let you enjoy this. So that spooky, ethereal sound are the wine glasses. for a moment and just talk about this poetry. Thank you, Juliana, for posting. I brought it up on my computer as well. I'm just going to read you the poem. It says, "Alone in the night on a dark hill, with pines around me spicy and still, and a heaven full of stars over my head, white and topaz and misty red, myriads with beating hearts of fire that aeons cannot vex or tire. Up the dome of heaven like a great hill, I watch them marching stately and still, and I know that I am honored to be witness of such majesty." I think it's a great poem, very peaceful, sort of. It reminds me of being out in this field that I'm looking at through this door, just sort of around pine trees and smelling them spicy. I like that description, and looking up at the stars. It's just incredible. So you might wonder what sort of challenges come up with doing a piece like this. I've always been fascinated with pieces for choir and instruments that are not piano and maybe not even orchestra, just strange things. So this piece had an immense challenge when it came to tuning the wine glasses, especially on tour. Our wonderful executive director, Jack, would go early to a location and with the tuning app and a big sort of bucket of to each glass and make sure that they were tuned to the right pitch. It's insane. And the pitch sort of can vary with the temperature, and at one time, for some reason, he had to tune all those things outside, and so when we brought them in, the pitch was wrong. And we had to quickly do it. So, it was a real challenge. Also a real challenge to transport those things everywhere that you go for concerts. Getting the poetry across, words like topaz, spicy, you don't sing those words very often. So sort of getting the choir used to, just singing them in general, but really bringing out the voiced consonants and the really sort of sensual parts of each word, and using the language that we have as a tool for artistry and color and inflection rather than just singing them. So that's an interesting thing. Let's go back to listening to it for a little bit. I'm going to skip minute marker 2:52. So I'm skipping on the YouTube video of Stars to minute 2:52. Oh no. Oh no. Maybe some of you. Oh, there we go. Well, the first set of technical difficulties. I think we've had a good track record. So you should listen to that piece on your own throughout the week and just feel that sort of sense of peace and serenity wash over you. There's this wonderful climactic moment where we're just singing these blocks of chords, and the quartz bowl is playing, and one of our wonderful vocal fellows, Sarah Berger, is just floating this incredibly wonderful high A on the top of everything, and it's like flying in the clouds. So it's really an amazing piece. Everything by Eschenwalds is wonderful. You should check him out as well. So the purpose of this music series on Thursdays at 5, Music with the Maestro, is to just keep your musical palette wet and ready to go. It's a strange time that we've found ourselves in, and always maintaining that sense of community and art in your life, I think is going to be something that's really important for many of us, most of us. Keeping the singing going. Choral Arts is going, they don't know this yet, but there are a number of singing projects, virtual singing projects, that we're going to attempt to sort of keep our community going and thriving. And one of the challenges, again, at the beginning of the video, I talked about the fact that some of our revenue from concerts have gone away. And so one of the purposes to this concert series, virtual concert series, is if you feel that you enjoyed this and you're going to enjoy the other videos coming up, if you could donate on the very first comment of this comment section, or I think there might be a way for Karina to add the Facebook donate button onto it as well. That's going to go to supporting our vocal fellows and other necessary personnel who have found that their sources of income have gone away. So we are continuing to pay some honorarium to our vocal fellows because they're our family. Of course, we have lost our revenue for the month of April and May as well, so we're in a tight spot, but we're committed to making sure that the freelance musicians that call Baltimore Choral Arts home have security. So I have a friend, a singer friend in Baltimore, and they had to move out of their apartment. They moved back in with their parents, and they don't have access to transportation to get to rehearsals, even if there were any, and their entire March, April, and probably most of May has been canceled. So that's a hardship that is tough to overcome. So we are trying to make sure that we can remain open for them, and that we support them through this strange period, so that when we get on the other side of this awkwardness, we have our family maintained and our musical family is in good shape. So please click the donate button. Look out for the Choral Arts Gala information about our online silent auction, and don't miss Music with the Maestros next Thursday from my own living room back in Baltimore. We're going to do some Handel Messiah. We're going to do some arias and a few choruses that will be uplifting and encouraging and help your spirit keep going. Also I want to just give 2 other shout outs. One is to James Mayo, who's been doing some incredible virtual hymn sings. James Mayo, M-A-Y-O, add him on Facebook so that you can be part of the virtual hymn sings. And I just want to highlight a vocal fellow every time that we do this. So their Choral Arts is going to post as the last comment a video from Carrie Holohan singing some Purcell, and I think you will love it. She is one of our most dedicated singers ever. She's a vocal fellow, and she's been with us for a long time. She does a ton of work in the performing arts sector in Maryland and beyond. So we hope that you can latch onto that video and find more of her. She's great. There, I see that it went live just now, so please don't forget to put this on your calendar. Mark it like it's a concert in real life. You don't want to miss it. Thursdays at 5 Eastern. Of course, we'll repost these videos so that you can enjoy them and donate if you enjoyed them anytime. So hope that you're well and healthy and that you stay so. And of course, we will see you, provided that our vocal fellows are safe and happy and healthy. We'll see you next Thursday at 5 in my living room for some Handel Messiah. Thank you.